are going down in history as the worst mayor in America.
The city of Chicago is the most corrupt city on the planet, and it's run by a Democratic machine. And it's going to stop because Trump is getting in office.
Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one. But they're wearing red hats. African-American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, please, President Trump, come to Chicago.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Micca, and we're back for another Red Cup Talks because, you know, this is where truth, pop culture, and politics meet. And today I'm telling you, some of the most phenomenal people I've ever seen in my life. They are on the ground. They have the grassroots going. I'm telling you, it is Danny and Zoe of Chicago Flips Red. Thank you so much for joining me. How are you?
Hello, hello. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to be quick because I know you all have to go, but I wanted to get your perspective because I'm a conservative out here in DC, and I see you have a grassroots movement out in Chicago, but I noticed that you came to DC, and when you came to DC, you decided to do the Congressional Black Caucus events. And as a conservative out here in DC, I can tell you, I know what it's like. I didn't go this year. So I just wanted to kind of get your perspectives on that. You know, I want to get your perspectives on Donald Trump and everything he's doing in Chicago and in DC, since you're in DC. But I want to start with DC. So I noticed that you all were having a little pushback at the convention, right? And I saw a video of a security guard saying pretty much some disparaging things. So I wanted to play that clip really quick, and then I want to get your perspective on it. Okay.
President Trump. I hope you
not welcome here.
You said what?
Trump is not welcome here.
Okay. Yeah. Please share this to Trump. That's why we got the energy. He said Trump is not welcome here. And what's his name? His name is, let me get his name. Let me get his face. He said Trump is not welcome here. Discrimination. He said Trump is not welcome here.
He's a stupid person. No, you used to be a blogger.
Why would you even say that? You're so unprofessional.
Yeah.
You're so unprofessional.
You can't even spell professional.
That's the Black Caucus. He's the president of the United States, and that's what we're repping.
Yeah.
You idiot.
Yeah.
You the one said it.
You said Trump is not welcome here, and I got it on blind.
Keep your voice down.
Please tag, y'all. Please tag everybody. Please tag everybody. Please. He said Trump, our president, is not welcome, and we've been discriminated against.
So I really want to get your thoughts and what was going through your mind, because when I saw that, I said, "Oh my God!" And he said it like with his full chest on camera.
Yeah, that's one thing. That's one thing like that Danny got. Danny can get these people to say it again. They double down on the dumbness every time.
I saw.
Yeah. I've been to the Congressional Black Caucus. I'm 39. I'll be 40 in a few months. But I've been going to the Black Caucus since I was young. I've always been an entrepreneur, like I said, and I've never. First of all, this was the most emptiest Black Caucus I've ever seen in my life. But it was very important for us to be there because we are a conservative Black group coming out of Chicago, and we do support President Trump and everything that he's doing. But the discrimination, as soon as we got into the door, like it was just there. Like these red sweatshirts are a trigger. And I didn't even have my sweatshirt on that day, but it was to me it was hurtful. I think it's hurtful because y'all sit here and talk about y'all nonpartisan. Y'all sit here and talk about how everybody's open to have a different perspective in life, which we should have. And then we get discriminated as soon as we get in there because we're Republicans and y'all personally hate Trump. Because at this point, it's a personal issue. They hate Trump. And
Absolutely.
I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah, they didn't even, we paid our money like everybody else. They didn't even have our name on the map. They didn't have our name down. So when we went there, we were supposed to be at 7:45, right? When we came in, they didn't have a 7:45. we went to the front to ask them, you know, what was going on. Nobody saw our name. And that's why if you see what was really bad was they put us in the back. We ended up at 9:05 from 7:45 to 9:05. We were in the back where it was it was terrible. So I believe that they did that on purpose. They didn't. So if you had you know, if you come in and you looking at a map to see all the vendors that would be there, our name wasn't even on there. So you wouldn't even know that we was there, and you put us in the back. And then he was that bold. And see, the thing is with me, the reason why I always start filming, because what these people do is they would discriminate or they would harm you, and then they will lie on you.
Yes.
So so I always had to have my camera out showing what's going on, because I don't trust them at all. So when I had my camera out, that's when he said everything he said, and he also said it again. And it was just the energy. You felt it. As soon as we came in, just asking where our booth is, we don't see. It was the energy that you can tell that they hated Republicans being there, even though, like Zoe said, it's supposed to be a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization. It definitely wasn't that.
Yeah, it's definitely hate Trump town. I can tell you, I grew up here my entire life. It's definitely hate Trump. I actually have a little bit of that footage, which you're talking about as far as the section you were supposed to be in. So I want to play a little bit of that just to give context.
Okay.
Everybody else was, but we wasn't. So this is what's happening.
So
the wall is right there. That's the back. That's the very back of the wall. This is where we at.
this is where we at right here.
This is the back. And right there is the wall, the other wall. So this is the very back we have with that. Okay.
See what I'm saying? So this is unprofessional. This is what discrimination because of our political ideology. This is what I'm talking about. The Democratic Party don't play fair. They thought that we were going. They don't know really what to do because we black. So they really don't. They don't know. Yeah, but they're definitely prejudiced and they're discriminating. Now, Paul, he is the CFO of this Congressional Black Coon Caucus, and he basically told us yesterday that we were going to be in a better position, and this other lady said she sent an email to Ramona about them changing. But my thing is, if you changed, which you shouldn't have, but if you changed our booth, you still didn't make sure we were on the map. You didn't have anything set up. You weren't gonna have anything set up because we were not welcome here.
And that's something that I think is very sad. And it's because even though you are conservative, Republican, independent, whatever, if you're different from the Democratic Party, I think it's very sad that as a Congressional Black Caucus that they're not receptive, and they're always saying that Black people aren't a monolith, okay? But here they are acting as if there's only a monolith, and you can only express one side. Because what would be wrong with having Chicago Red come and actually show a different side, right, where Black people can express their thoughts here and there, and actually get something done for the Black community. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thing is the Democratic Party is done. We broke that. So it's dead. However, there's people that's still holding on to hope. 90% of our vote has only went one side. So when people come to me and tell me that, well, what the Republicans going to do? Well, I don't know, because I'm 39. And I know that I didn't take none of this stuff seriously until y'all played with me and my tax dollar. So now that we have a political group, and somebody's going there representing us and what we stand for in this generation and our ages, I think that it's time that I think that we'll be treated fairly. But we're getting pushback by the very same people who have never done nothing for us for 40 years. They have not done nothing for 60 years, but for 40 years for me, I haven't seen anything. And I refuse to go into my 40s with this same mindset. It's time to level the playing field. And the leveling the playing field is it's time for us to get in government, and it's time for Black people to start looking at our history and start looking at the Republican Party.
And
now, go ahead, Danny. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, and I wanted to say, it was to see that it was all Democrats on those stages. You know, they didn't have no opposing factor or political ideology on the stages. When you saw it, when we went to the mayor, they had panels for the mayors, all
Yes.
Black Democrat mayors. So all of the things, when we went to the general attorneys, they were all Black Democrat, Hispanic Democrats. So where is I didn't see not one Republican panel, one Republican on those stages, and they were able to lie. It was so many lies told.
Yes.
And so I couldn't, and I can see why we had the mindset that we have. Because if you are nonpartisan, you should have two viewpoints, since we do have two political parties, or like you said, independent. You have Republican, you have Democrats, and independent.
Yes.
All of those people should be represented at the Congressional Black Caucus, but it wasn't.
Yeah, and the crazy part is, it's not a lot here, but you have the lieutenant governor in Virginia, right? That you could have reached, out to. And I live in Maryland now, but Maryland has one Republican representative because they gerrymander here a lot. So with that being said, it may not be a mayor because this is the DMV area, but you could have found someone that can represent that side, representing also people of color, because we do have them, but they don't showcase them. So everyone here is just taught Democratic policies. I know, because I grew up here. But I definitely want to get into the panel that you were talking about. So that panel, the Made in the Moment panel with the mayors, I watched your stream. Okay, I watched all 1 hour and something of it, right?
Oh,
and yeah, I watched it. I had time.
First of all, thank you for watching.
You're welcome. Because the thing about it is, I'm a person that, I'm a content creator, but I make clips, but I despise them too. Okay, because a lot of the times you can take them and you can manipulate them, and I have been on that side. Okay, I have a couple of clips, especially the one that Charlie Kirk posted, and because it starts at a certain point, people take it and run with it.
Yeah.
Instead of understanding the full context. But I want to get into this because I found it so surprising what Brandon Johnson was talking about, because I cover him a lot. And when I tell you, you all were spot on with calling him out, you were spot on. But I want to play that really, really quickly, and then we'll come back and give context here. Here we go.
Evils of the planet.
There we go.
Militarism, materialism, and racism. And that we have to do everything in our power to eradicate these evils from the planet. And the people who know them the best are Black folks. And so that's why, as Mayor Scott and all of us are indicating, that we do feel that sense of responsibility. Listen, I used to come to the Congressional Black Caucus convention, this conference, protesting the position of school privatization against Democrats. I took an arrest in front of the very elevator that is now held for me. I've been on a hunger strike. I was polling at 2.2%, a middle school teacher, the first mayor in a generation that's been elected without any ties to the daily machine.
But you made your own machine and you're terrible.
Made his soul rest. But Mayor Harold Washington was on the slate of Richard J. Daley when he ran as a state representative. And so Black folks' expectations were incredibly high for me, because it was the people in this city, particularly the corporate interests, that outspent me 3-1. They said there would be blood in the streets. They said that police officers would quit. They said that we would not be able to manage the crisis that they created. Whether it's police brutality settlements, whether it's the lack of pensions, the fact that all of the public assets were sold off by the daily operation. And then May 15, 2023, Black folks said, give us free, in the words of Sinclair.
Are you fucking serious?
Are you serious?
So I'm not mad at our people for having high expectations. I have higher expectations of myself than anybody in this room.
Oh my God.
6% approval.
When he said that, I said the high expectation of who?
A who? That's what I say. A who?
He's delusional. I'm trying to tell you, I think he's on the spectrum.
It's worse because it's just absolute delusion.
Delusion at the highest.
I just said I was cracking up at your ad libs, but I'm telling you, it infuriates me because I watch, I don't live in Chicago. I've never even been to Chicago, but I watch what goes on there. And just from, what I know and watching, you all go to these town halls and be suppressed as Black people, the people that the Democratic Party say that they are for. They have been for 60 plus years. So they say. And so with that being said, I watched that. I watched what you talk about on your own platforms. And I watched what Brandon Johnson just said there. It gives the delusion that he doesn't care, but he puts it out there as if he's doing something. And I like that you guys are showing the contrast. So I want to hear what your thoughts were from seeing that and then knowing Brandon Johnson on a daily basis.
I couldn't take it no more. I had to let them know because at some point the lies that he was telling, and then you can't keep quoting Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all these quotes and just keep lying like that and blaming the white man. Brandon Johnson blamed the white man, all of them, for every failure that they had, and it's all because of them. These people are so they're so used to telling Black people that using trigger words for us. They think that all they have to say is quote a couple of Malcolm X quotes, Dr. Martin Luther King quotes, and say white man bad, racism, and things like that, and that's going to trigger us. And now they can do and say whatever they want to say after that. So we were sold to hear the lies that he told and to know the truth. I couldn't take it no more. So if you, with some of the video, I started saying, you a liar. You stole all our money. You spent all of you did. It wasn't no white man there. You did. We begged you at City Hall not to take our resources and spend and to use the money that were allocated to us to spend it on our communities. We begged you for that. And you looked us in the face. You tried to throw us out, silence us, and you told us you gonna keep the buses coming, that you not gonna flinch. You stood there arrogantly and told us that. So to blame somebody else other than yourself, it was delusional. And then what he said, no, you did have police officers that quit or retired under him, which my husband was one of them. They could not take everything he was doing with the illegal aliens that put them all in the
in danger,
in the police stations, and they could not arrest them. And they were just smoking weed, drinking, prostitution, all in front of the police stations and all in our communities, with taking our field houses, functional field houses, and taking our houses and apartment buildings and giving it to them while they push us out of our own communities. So he did just that. So that was just, I couldn't take it no more. And what was funny was everybody else was able to shout out, say, amen, yes.
yes.
But as soon as you said something like, That's a lie. Then the police came and told us we had to be quiet. But I reminded them that, remember, we have a constitution. You Democrats are crying right now about freedom of speech, what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. So let's keep that same energy going for Charlie Kirk and my freedom of speech. Don't silence me.
Yeah, and it's so amazing because I actually had that here as some of the questions, because that was one of the things that I noticed from Miss Angela Rye. Okay. And Angela Rye has been, a kind of thorn in my side ever since, Joe Biden didn't give her friend, that pardon. And she comes and she just spews a lot of things, but she talks about the Democratic Party, but to turn around and then say, well, we still should support it, even though it's suppressing even people that support it like her. But one of the things that I noticed she didn't do is she didn't push back on Brandon Johnson at all when she knows the demographics. She knows what's happening with the illegals. She knows what's happening in DC, in Baltimore, okay, because Baltimore is right up the street from here. Why do you think she didn't give any type of pushback? And then why do you think, in a room full of supposedly free thinkers, why do you think your voices were pretty much silenced? Because I heard a whole bunch of people, yes, that's right, that's this, yes, right on. And then if you booed, it was a problem. If you said it was a lie, it was a problem, because I saw her stand up and say, well, this is a panel, I'm not going to say it again. Why do you think it was so much tension with just people who are from Chicago trying to voice what they actually know, and them on the Democratic side trying to silence it?
Because they're being lied to. And I know that personally. I know that that circle. Charlemagne is like a brother to me, and he's the only person, honestly, who gave me a platform to talk about my original issue, why this came about, and what Brandon and the Chicago people are telling this administration are telling them, that we're being paid by the Republicans, we're being paid by Trump, we're agitators, we really don't have no issues, stuff like that. So when we come in and they think, when they see these we're automatically troublemakers and stuff like that, or we're activists. And like I tell people, I want to make this very clear. I'm not an activist. I'm an entrepreneur. And I saw the BS. I saw economically it wasn't making any sense. You take the racism out, black, red, blue, trans, all that stuff. I saw that we're still at the bottom of the totem pole, and Biden administration just let 22 million people over here, gave them resources, while me and my family is unhoused and fighting a case with the city of Chicago knocking down my building. So I saw that. But the issue is the whole story is not being told. Also, they have to continue to keep this narrative up that President Trump is a white supremacist, and everything that they say that he is, Jim Crow Joe Biden was, and nobody held him to any of that. They don't want to talk about it. They want to change the subject. They want to talk about, well, neither one of them are good for us, all that stuff. But when you ask them this one question, let me know, give me some things that Trump said that was so racist. And they said the two things. He didn't rent to black people back in the 80s, something like that. And then Central Park 5.
Which is a complete lie.
Yeah.
I have to argue that point every time.
Me too. And then she didn't push back. That was the thing. Why didn't you come up with follow-up questions? Why didn't you push back? Because they all probably got the questions in the beginning. They said, because if you notice, everybody said crime was down 30%. All of them said the same thing.
Different cities.
Yeah,
now we're the third largest city. You got Oakland up there. I used to live in Baltimore, so I know definitely about North Avenue. So I don't know what you're talking about. Every other person, somebody.
But do you know this, that they always say the percentage. Now I have a degree in mathematics. Okay, so I understand when it comes to different statistics, that when you want to put out something, you use the percentages instead of the actual numbers, because what are the actual numbers in Chicago? Like if it's, and I'm just doing an example, right? If it's 1,000 murders and you're down 30%, but you're not saying that it's down from 1,000. You're just saying it's down 30%. Well, if I say it's down 30%, that sounds really good. But 30% from what?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And so I think it's a misrepresentation, because they don't understand that, yes, crime can be down, but just like here in the district, and you can kind of speak to this and let me know if it's a factor in Chicago. Here in the district, they have a sense of, well, I'm going to recategorize.
Yeah.
Right. So instead of this being a burglary,
Yeah.
it's a simple theft.
Yeah.
Or instead of this being, you know, a carjacking, maybe this is, you know, theft of a car or something where it lowers the crime stats.
Right.
Do they do that in Chicago? Like, is that happening
No,
in
that's
Chicago?
exactly what it is. You hit it on the nail. Exactly. And some people don't even report the crime because the police come. When you call the police, I had this. They never even came when I called them at one point. So you calling the police. We're down at least 1,600 police. So you don't
have shot spotter.
Yeah.
Even though the shot spotter people they had a booth there. So to have a booth there, because they're a majority of the Democratic cities, because of the gun detection, because crime is not down, we don't have it. We have a mayor with the third largest city. We have an active genocide happening in our communities. He knows this, and he has taken ShotSpotter out. After DNC, he left it in there while DNC was here. And then after DNC left, he took it out, and then he has yet to replace it.
And we had, well, now he's the one, we call it Brandon bodies.
59 Brandon bodies. And I have a friend who's in law enforcement, and he was telling me also, if you look, because they're not even talking about the south suburbs. A lot of this crime is because we're getting displaced. You understand?
Yeah.
We're getting displaced, so we're getting pushed out the city. So we're going to the suburbs.
So that's happening everywhere. Wow.
Yeah.
Because that's here
right now. Their shootings are up like crazy, but you don't know because it's in the south suburbs.
And so they don't report on those.
So they don't report on
and they wasn't reporting the illegal alien crime. They wasn't reporting that at all. And a person, actually a sheriff in Oak Brook, got on TV and he said it. He said there is theft. They're doing all type of stuff. They're coming to Oak Brook Mall. They go lock them up in Chicago, and they are right back there the next day, stealing again. He says to the point it's 5 times they send them to Chicago. They get right back out. So now they just don't even do anything because they don't keep them. They not arresting them, and they not reporting it.
If a white cop says anything to a black and brown, they racist. You understand? They can't do their job. Like, it's just to the point that Trump has to send. I want him to declare martial law, to be quite honest. And I've said that for a very long time. They need to treat this like COVID.
Yeah.
Everybody sit down. Everybody
yeah. So
okay.
So I wanted you to touch on that. Like you all are awesome, because every point that I have on here, you guys just roll right into it. I wanted you to touch on that.
You're not scripted. You're not like they did with them mayors. That's why they didn't get no pushback, and they knew everything what they were going to.
She probably got a stipend. Absolutely. I don't know, but she, you know, they turned Democratic Party into a social, like I call it Soho House. They've turned it into the Soho House. They turned it into just black entertainment. So she probably got paid to be the moderator. We don't know. And so at the end of the day, when you get paid, you're on their agenda. They want to do the attack of the black mayor. Nobody's attacking these people. They're incompetent. They're DEI hires. They're incompetent. They got in because they're black. They're trash. They're stealing money. They're stealing crime prevention money. They helping out their homeboys and homegirls. That's what the problem is. And you could see that with the Black Caucus. The Black Caucus was so empty because that DEI money gone.
Yeah, and I'm tired of them like her and things like that. These people come from privilege. They don't understand our struggle. Stop letting these people talk for us and answer for us. Let us talk. And that's why Chicago flips red. We're not letting anyone talk for us or speak for us anymore. We're telling our own story because these people are so far from our reality. Their head is in the clouds. We are living this experience every day. So we're tired of that now. It's over for them. They don't speak for us at all.
So how do folks on the ground feel about Donald Trump wanting, to send the troops in, as they call it, but just to send the National Guards? And how do folks feel on the ground, especially how do Black folks feel on the ground? Because they make it seem like to the rest of us that nobody wants them there. Right. And they did that here in DC. And luckily for me, I get on different platforms and I get on the news. Luckily for me, I'm able to push back on the narrative because I'm here. But being that you're in Chicago, what do you see on the ground when Donald Trump says, I'm coming with the troops? And also, what do you see on the ground with these protests? Because I've been seeing for the last couple of days that they have been jumping in front of cars, political officials jumping in front of cars, trying to stop ICE, this, that, putting up signs out there every day, all day. What do you see on the ground that may suggest different, that people actually want what Donald Trump is trying to institute there in Chicago?
They're for it. They're for it. The issue is Chicago, the silent majority, Chicago red. I'm just going to let you know that now. Y'all will see when midterms come. Okay. Chicago's red. But the fact is they can't come out the way that people think, oh, you ain't got no support. No. Chicago's the most corrupt city on the planet. They will retaliate. They will take the little bit that we still have because that's how they move as a machine. So a lot of Black people are happy that ICE is there because, again, they put these people, Brandon Johnson, made sure that these illegals went into our community, especially the South Side. The South Side can't stand him at all. The West Side, they say that's damn near gone. You know what I'm saying? Wow. So people are for ICE being there. As you see those protesters, those paid protesters, and then the ones who are not paid, they have to this white liberal agenda that that Malcolm X warned us about.
Absolutely.
They don't bring up Malcolm X quotes, but they'll never bring up them white liberal quotes. They always forget to bring them up because he warned us about this in the 60s, and I wasn't even born yet. You weren't born yet.
Yep.
Dems wasn't born yet. But look now at 2025. Did he lie?
No, he never lied. That I have actually that quote up on my Instagram page, and I frequently, like, my supporters and my watchers will tell you I talk about white liberals here all the time. Yeah, absolutely, because they are diabolical, and they are so manipulative. Now, people always say, well, they tell me, well, the right is racist. Well, if the right is racist, I don't know what you would call the left.
I don't know at all. And then I'm pissed off because we're here in Chicago, right? I'm sorry, we're here in DC watching this. I can't wait to get back to Chicago.
Oh yeah, we pulling up.
We pulling up because see, what pisses me off, like I said before, these people that's out there, they don't live nowhere. They're going to jump in their cars once they do their theatrics and get their photo ops. They're going to get in their Subarus and their cars, and they're going to go back to their nice, gated, rich neighborhoods. That's what they're going to do. They're protected, all while trying to stop ICE officers and things, because these people are in our communities. They're not in theirs. So they don't have, their reality is not ours. And that's what's pissing me off. They were just ICE was like in close to my neighborhood, and being from One Voice America, I believe was filming, right? And those protesters blocked ICE, and they let a rapist get away. Now this rapist he's in my community. So my
Wow.
thing is this: I'm tired. And then imagine, then they get back in their cars and go back to their safe neighborhoods. These your white liberals. I'm tired of these people. Let these people, because they would not even allow that garbage in their communities around their
Absolutely.
family and children, but yet they advocate and push for things like that for us to deal with in our communities. And I'm tired of these people. Let them come. If you want criminals here, if you want illegal aliens here, then you put them all in your community. Let them live around your kids. Go to your kids' school. Stop trying to block them from getting out of our communities. We don't want that in our communities, and we are fighting against that. And I can't wait to get there, because I'm tired of these people speaking for us. They don't.
I think one of the most racist things that I see, and maybe they don't realize that it's racist, but they'll say stuff like, and I guess black people say it too, well, who's gonna pick our crops? Bitch, what?
That is true.
That is, when I tell you, and I call it Ratchet Crockett, but when I hear Jasmine Crockett say all of that, it sounds so. It sounds so slavery. It sounds so.
Right.
I'm just like, wait a minute. So, who was picking it before?
Right.
So, essentially, what you're saying is you have to have a serf class. Like somebody has to be at the bottom.
As a farmer, because farming has been here for centuries. As a farmer, you have you and your farmer kids, and your farm, because y'all live in a farmer life. That's what y'all do. Y'all pick the crops. Y'all make sure that you're getting the milk from the cows, and y'all getting the eggs from the chicken. That's the whole purpose of farming and farm life. So to sit here and make it like that y'all turning farms into sweatshops, and y'all make us make us feel bad, is crazy, because you chose that farm life. Yeah, you chose that farm life.
Well, the politicians could just actually take funding and put these things into schools, right? They have things like they have schools with welding and learning different trades.
That's it.
Agriculture could be in there.
That's it.
And then you would have children that actually could roll over, just like JRTC, anything like that. You could have children roll over into the military. You can have them roll over into agriculture.
That's it. So, and the biggest trick is to keep telling us as Americans that they're taking jobs that we don't want. That's a lie. They're taking jobs that we want. They're taking over job fields that we do have currently. And we just found out because we went to a seminar we went to a seminar on immigration school. And the thing is, they took all the vocational trade schools out of our community. They took them out. But yet we learned that we have so many people that's still here on expired visas that's learning vocational trades.
And the main countries are India and China.
And we're paying for it here.
So they're taking our vocational jobs. So they're getting them first dibs for the vocational jobs, while they have taken all the vocational jobs out of our schools.
Yeah. And
that's how messed up this is.
And these people are getting, that's why you see in our communities, all foreigners that have own businesses, and we don't own anything in our in our community. Yeah, because this is what they do.
No, absolutely. Here in DC, that's all that's in the communities, and it's in the rich side. It's on the the poor side of town, which a lot of people would classify more so as east of the river or southeast, things like that. And it's because there's no resources. All the resources are allocated somewhere else. But I want to get your thoughts on how, since you're in DC, I want to get your thoughts on how DC looks. Did you feel safe? Did you feel like you could walk around? What was your thoughts of DC just after the whole Donald Trump takeover? What's your thoughts? Like, how do you feel?
Well, I love DC. DC is my second home. But I felt good. I did. Some of our other members, they saw some of the National Guard. But yeah, I think it looks cleaner. I will say that streets look clean. It looked like people are behaving
Mhm.
and
Very much so.
understands how beautiful our nation's capital is, and it needs to always be clean, because this probably is the #1 tourist site.
Mhm.
You understand? It has all. This is
Absolutely.
where we make our laws, and at the end of the day, I think as many people that they put out here that hate Trump, black people, it's double of how many people appreciate Trump and what he's doing, and but they're not gonna say it because they'll be arguing like we are. I argue all day, and I have time.
Yeah,
I have
Absolutely.
time to argue all day.
Don't got time. And I think, and I enjoyed it. I think we need to get a place out here,
Yeah.
and it feels safer. And just to piggyback back on your comment, the people in Chicago, they just don't show it. They welcome Trump. They want the National Guards here. When you talk to the people on the street, the only people that they show are the ones, the criminals who's doing the crime. Of course, they don't want the National Guards here, and that's the small percent that keep victimizing us. But we want the people on the street who just want to go to work, raise their kids, come home, things like that. The regular people, law-abiding citizens, they're calling and begging for President Trump because we talked to them. So yes, he's welcome there in Chicago. And like I said, DC, I love it. Zoe keeps saying, yeah, we need a place down here, because we are down here a lot more now. So yeah, I think President Trump did an awesome job, and I know that he would do an awesome job in Chicago if he came.
And he's doing it now. Like, the guards may not be there, but ICE is all in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You understand? The ATF just shuts down, so he has to do it a way that he's doing it. Like, you understand?
Right.
Because if he keeps saying Chicago, 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 then they're going to continue to pay all these weird brainwashed people to
Antifa.
to attack from everywhere, trying to make it like they're trying to make this the new civil rights movement, and it's really disrespectful to our ancestors.
Yes, I heard Jasmine Crockett
really
say
did
that.
fight for this. So, and a lot of black people see that, especially us, our age group. We all see the disrespect, and we're not going because we're not oppressed. And you're not going to continue to say that we're oppressed. You're not going to continue to keep this manufactured oppression narrative, racism narrative. I'm not sitting here and saying that there's no racism, because it is. I'm going back and forth right now with people about Asada. I love Asada. You understand what I'm saying? And we're going to keep. And so there's people that have issue with that. The same people that were mad. They kicked my ass. The black people kicked my ass about Charlie Kirk. You understand? Now the white people kicking my ass about Asada. No, we're gonna keep the same energy.
Yeah, it's like that, and I understand. It's like that for conservatives who are, especially black conservatives, but conservatives of color, because they expect you to be on a certain plantation. And so, and then, on the other side, you can get pushed back with the, conservatives, when they tend to think you're supposed, that there's a consensus of what you're supposed to like. And I just think that you should have certain values, and we meet there. We don't always have to agree on the same, on the same issues. But I want to ask this question. What did it feel like to have the president of the United States say all the things that he said about you when they were asked the question about Chicago flips red? And he said, "Oh, yes, they wearing red hats." And nobody had to say Chicago flip red. I already knew what it was. I was like, I'm telling you, this is what it is. And when I told people that, especially when I told black people that, they were like, "Who? That's not true. That's not true. That's what they hear." And I'm like, no, they are literally fighting in Chicago about this. I'm on panels arguing all the time. It's what I do. And they did not know. That's why it was so jarring for me to see that panel with Angela Rye and all of them, because these people could be telling the story of all black people. But what was it like to see the president put you in front of the media and give you a voice like that?
God,
yes, you
God,
said you praying.
I was that week, man. I was like, man, because I was like, just give me a sign, like, you know, that we doing, because I move righteous and with good intentions, always have, you know, and I just want to make sure I'm doing this right because I'm not political, but I know there needs to be a change. And when it was 11 o'clock, I'll never forget, and we were all heading to Macy's because they needed to get some new red lipstick. And my phone just got bing, 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 bing. I'm like, what the hell? Bing, 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 bing. President Trump shouted y'all out. President Trump, the beautiful African-American ladies. And then next thing you know, our emails from ABC News, CBS, and all these news people. So it was good. It was finally, because we've been doing this for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We've been doing this for 2 years. So before Chicago Fifth Red became an organization, it was just people who had their personal issues, and we all got together and weren't going. So, you know, we found like-minded people who had the same mindset. But so it's like, wow, finally people will finally get to hear our story. Will understand why this came about, because it's hurtful to hear people say we're getting paid. And it's hurtful to hear from the politicians, the black do-nothing politicians in Chicago that are on strings, so they can't do nothing. So the only thing they can do is say stuff like, oh, they getting paid. No, y'all getting paid to not do nothing for our communities, and y'all been doing it for a very long time, because ain't no way in the world in 2025 our communities still look messed up and nobody else's community don't look messed up. Or when somebody come over here from a whole nother foreign country, they can set up shop and get everything. So I'm trying to figure out where the money at.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're giving them the information. Do you think Chicago Flips Red would do something kind of like Turning Point and branch out and go to other cities? Because, you know, the inner workings of Chicago is very liberal, but there are other places, of course, like here in DC, where there are no safe havens for conservatives. There are no conservative chapters of pretty much anything. If you try to start something, it's absolutely frowned upon. That's the nice way to say it.
We
No, go ahead.
We definitely because before this President Trump shouted us out, we have been getting emails. We have been getting people asking us, like, please, can y'all come here? New York, can y'all come here to Philly? We had gotten so many people asking us.
Flip Red.
Yeah, it's a huge so they had been asking us, and we were saying that, man, we want to come. Like, this is our goal to do this, because, like you said, do take money, because we're doing all of this by ourselves, and from the donations of the people. They have been, you know, that's it. We're not getting any help from anybody else, but from the donations from the people in our own pockets.
And interviews, like that's what I said. Like, I will never not take an interview. I used to work for Dick Gregory for 4 years, so he told me, you have to be for the people. You have to be for the people. If you're not for the people, it's over. And he used to say that all the time, because they were at the height of the civil rights movement. He watched the height. He watched it, and he watched it fall. He watched it, it fall. It fell. So my thing is, we have to keep that same momentum up from our ancestors, the ones that wasn't going, the ones who taught what we know as our history, and now just put our spin on it. I've always said I want to do panel discussions. Before even Chicago Fifth Red, I was trying to get panel discussions in Chicago about the illegal immigration. But now, fast forward, I got everybody. I got everything I need. So, like, even with Baltimore, DC, now I have, you're a conservative. We, we have a place in Capitol Hill we can use to start bringing monthly debates here, or not even debates, but monthly panels on what do we need to do, what's next, because that's what we don't have.
Yes.
We don't have, we have to be prepared, even for the next election coming up, because Trump, I want him in there until he's ready to go. However, if we only got him until through 3 more years, we got to start working on the next president, because the Democrats can't get back in.
They can't.
Absolutely not. I mean, I really don't think they would be able to, but They do have a lot of money. Like they always talk about the Republicans being, funded by billionaires, but it's so many billionaires on that side.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
It's
yes.
yeah,
so
they stealing our money.
many.
Then they
Yes, they have a
stealing our
lot of money.
money.
And
Yes.
they
Welfare certificate.
spend a lot. They outspend. And that's why in this area, a lot of people that are conservative can't even get a voice because we're
They
outspent.
spend, yeah, media, they spend, yeah, the media. So yeah, I think that we want to, and we're going to have
Mhm.
different Chicago Flips Red chapters everywhere. That was our goal
That's
because
awesome.
Harvey, if you see a video, Harvey called for us to come out there and help them. And so we're trying, we really want to, but like it's going to take resources. And yeah, that's our goal, to help every blue city to in state flip red. That's our goal. Because I keep telling people, my biggest thing is policies. You have to educate people on policies. If people were educated, our people especially, because we are the ones who vote blue no matter who, like Zoe said,
Absolutely.
95% for these 60 years. Once you educate them on policies, not feelings, not party policies, they would understand that none of those policies they agree with or align with, and they would see. But see, we're not educated. I was just taught blue, vote blue no matter who. My mother told me to do that. I told my kids that was it. Never knowing, when I started looking into policies, I said, oh, ain't no way. I don't believe or align with any of these policies. And I started educating. So I think if we do that and just give facts, most people who are Americans, and I'm a Christian, and just believe in God, Jesus, they can't go along with none of these policies the Democrat Party are for.
And I used to say that all the time. And even to the last podcast I was on, I said that. I said, okay, take away the fact that you don't like Orange Man bad. Okay.
Mhm.
You don't like him. Just close your eyes and listen to the policies. And then, do you still like the policies that you have in your city? Well, no, I don't like. Okay. So why don't you vote that way? Because I don't have to like you, but I want to see what's on the paper. Because a lot of the times I see it's, oh, Donald Trump says this, that, and the third. Donald Trump is a racist because he said that. Even though I don't believe it, what I usually say is, okay, well, what did he put on the paper?
Right.
Because not once, but twice, he's funded these HBCUs.
Right.
Okay. I haven't seen Jim Crow Joe do any of that.
Right.
Historically, he's given the most to HBCUs, and not one of these people talked about that at the Black Caucus.
Right.
They didn't even have. They could have had Michaela. They could have had Michaela on a panel and her breaking down everything in a black term. They could have had you on a panel. You and her.
Oh, a lot of them know me. I know Mary Scott. They all
broke
they don't like it.
down everything, any issue y'all had, the big beautiful bill, everything, the immigration crisis from a conservative point of view. Y'all had no other point of view in there but that I hate Trump and they taking DEI.
And the white is white supremacy.
Yeah, y'all DEI was taken away because y'all was stealing. Y'all were stealing, and none of y'all were qualified for those jobs. Mm-hmm. And let's keep it above.
And we didn't benefit. I keep saying we didn't benefit, and I'm tired of being when we saw their and this is what they didn't talk about the 14th Amendment, where President Trump is doing, where he's separating us from, because the Democratic Party has managed to lump us in with everybody, people of color. You got marginalized communities. So now even let's just say 4% of DEI that benefited that's supposed to benefit foundational Black Americans. Now you allowed them to lump everybody in, so that 4% is not even Black Americans. It's now you're gonna get LGBTQ, you're gonna get Indians, you're gonna get Haitians in that, you're going to get Jamaicans. So now are the real true Black Americans even getting those jobs? We probably now reduced to 1% or 2% of the 4% of those jobs, because we are seeing that when they I experienced this. when we are doing grants and things like that, when they say black for black, the black community or black this, African Americans and this, I noticed that it's Jamaicans in there. I'm noticing that it's Haitians in there. It's not true black Americans, freedmen. So,
Absolutely.
so
They
yeah,
never do
so
that.
yeah,
And
so
they're not gonna do it. They're not gonna do it until we walk away. Like, I mean, it took us. You know, you had was it Brandon who did the walk away. You've got the Scott Pressler who does his thing in Philadelphia or whatever. But it had to take a group of black people to say F this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like this is ridiculous. Okay, like this don't make any sense why we're still here. Like they didn't have to walk away. You understand? White people gonna get what they're gonna get regardless. But at this point, we have nothing.
mm-hmm.
And you guys continue to vote blue because Angela Rye be killing it, Jasmine Crockett be cursing people out, Maxine Waters been at, well, for what? Like what are Maxine Waters that sold out Inglewood and Compton?
You're right.
Like that's history. That's black culture in California, in Los Angeles. Y'all, she literally is Hispanic now,
like our community,
just like our community. So it has to be a time where you have to end this generational curse, and that is my goal and angle when it comes to Chicago Fits Red as well.
Yeah.
That's absolutely awesome. And yes, you're absolutely right, because a lot of the times people like Jasmine Crockett, they're here to give you an emotional charge.
Yeah.
They're here to, do trigger words. They're here to, because a lot of people don't realize that people are already emotional when they're in a certain state. But Black people tend to have a extra sensitivity, and they know that. And so they just talk about things like that, all the way from Joe Biden saying they're going to put y'all back in chains. Like you hear that, and it's just, oh my God. And if you don't have, if you're not grounded somewhere else, you hear that and you're immediately triggered, and they know this.
Yeah.
So with that being said, what do you think it will take to get a Black conservative politician that Black folks could get around? Because for some reason, any other conservative politicians that, I see that are Black, whether they're, FBA or whether they're, Caribbean or anything like that, if they're on the conservative side, it's always a sellout, a coon. That's how they perceive it. What would it take to get a Black politician that can be conservative but could speak to everybody? What do you see that is needed to get that type of politician?
Well, we're running. Well, I'm not, but some of us are running for office in our group. But honestly, someone that's true to them, true to themselves. Like, I love Asada. Like, this is just a prime example. I love Asada Shakur. And I'm not going to back down on how I feel about Asada. And just because I'm a conservative and just because I'm a Republican, I'm not going to hide how I feel because I'm worried about what white people are going to think when I just got,
we got slaughtered.
Got slammed for bringing up Charlie Kirk's quote in my press conference because I'm about First Amendment. Y'all went and go look for him and found things and y'all were triggered and stuff like that. Just like I said yesterday with Charleston White, I don't go look for Charleston White stuff. Some of the stuff that he says, I agree with. Some of the stuff I'll be like, ooh, that's a little bit too much. However, I don't hate him. He has a right to say whatever he wants to say, just like Charlie Kirk had the right to say whatever he wants to say. Just like I'm going to rep Asada Shakur. I'm going to rep Fred Hampton. I'm going to rep our rebels because at those times, we had no choice but to rebel. What I'm doing is rebelling. I'm going against the machine. I've been called a Democratic machine, the very machine that's supposed to protect, especially me. I'm Black, I'm a woman, I'm gay. Everything that y'all push out there, and y'all have literally discriminated against me. But y'all won't give me a platform, a national platform, for me to really speak out on why Chicago Fit Red was made. Like I told Angela Rye, he birthed Brandon Johnson birthed Chicago Fist Red. That's why we had to be there in the front. You understand? Even though they weren't trying to let us in there, but they were. It has to be the next person to be even the United States of America. I mean, the president of the United States of America, and Trump is putting us in position. He's separating us. He's putting us in position, but they hate him. You understand what I'm saying? But it has to be somebody that's true to the mission, that's unapologetically black, but also loves America and humans, and understands that everything is not white supremacy. Everything is not white supremacy. We have a lot of gatekeeping in our community. We have a lot of cliques in our community. We have a lot of prejudice in our community, and we've been like that. We talk about each other like a dog, even when it's not politics. So at this point, we don't help each other. We don't help each other. So at this point, it's start going back in. Okay, what's up then? I'm a coon. No, let's talk about your coon behaviors.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
That's absolute. That's facts. That's absolute facts.
That's what it's gonna take. And I think, like Zoe said, we're not apologizing for who we are. People say, well, Danny, the way you talk, you don't sound like a politician. You don't talk like you should. I don't care. God made us who he made us, because at this time to deal with this beast, this Democratic machine in Chicago, you can't be the average person. You can't be the average Republican. That's not going to get the job done. So he made us exactly who he needed us to be for such a time as this, to fight this machine. He called us, like we said, we didn't choose this mission. This mission chose us, and he didn't take anything from us. I'm from they called it back then, and it's still called there now because it was bad, Terror Town in Chicago. I was raised there, raised my kids there, and God knew what he needed, who he needed to fight this battle. We don't back down. We are not scared. We are bold. We don't apologize for who we are, and we embrace exactly who God made us to be. And we're fighting this battle that we know that God is behind us, and he mandated us to do for such a time as this, and we're not apologizing for it. Now, all the imperfections that it is, God knew it, and he didn't care about it. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Nothing is politically correct anymore. We have to revamp all of this. So we're doing it the best way. In the words of Jessica Jackson, that's a lady who I started with this word. Everyone got to get to their 4. Malcolm X got to his 4. Dr. King got to his 4. Dick Gregory got to his 4. Muhammad Ali got to his 4. We're getting to our 4. We stay in our lane, and we love everybody. We want to collaborate with everybody, but we not with the shits. But we
absolutely. I love it, and I love Dick Gregory. I actually met Dick Gregory back when I was in the entertainment industry and I was doing music mostly, and I was getting denied a lot of contracts and contacts because on the back end I wouldn't do certain things because I was conservative, and so he, it was maybe a year or 2 before he passed, and he told me, he said, look, just keep going. He was like, even if it's not music, just keep going. He was like, keep those conservative values and keep going. And till this, he followed me on social media until this day that, his family and everything still follows me. But I just thought it was absolutely, it touched me because a lot of people don't get to see people outside of what the media makes them out to be, or what is portrayed. As you were talking about with Asada, people can have, I'm for it. People can have different opinions of things. They might not like certain things. Part of my family is Cuban, so we know a lot about revolutions, things that go on, and different type of social stances, which is another reason why I tell people here in America, you don't want socialism.
Right.
You don't want socialism at all. Okay, you don't. Yeah. But with what you just said is why we need different voices. And this was why it was so important for me to, reach out to you. My dad used to tell me, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. I said, I'm just going to take this shot since they here. I'm going to just blow up the email, social media, something, because I just think it's really important to showcase, not only Black people, not only people of color, but women as well that have a different voice. Because I speak on my platform a lot about us only seeing one side, the degeneracy. We only see that, right? Okay, that's cool. You want to see it, but what about the other side? And I feel that way with politics.
That's right.
We
Exactly.
never
I know
see the
my
other
privilege.
side.
I know
Joe
my
keeps saying
privilege. I know my privilege. I know I'm an elite.
Mhm.
I know I'm elite, so I don't care what anybody has to say. Well, I look at it as the Democratic Party gave me the worst customer service on earth. Why would I continue to shop there?
The abuse is real.
Right.
The abuse is real.
I say, you call me anything in the world, just don't call me no Democrat.
That's what he said. We draw the line
Absolutely.
there. Don't call us. You
Absolutely.
call us all type of names. They be talking about coons and
Fat,
sellouts.
Yep, I know, and all you got to say is, at least I'm not liberal.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, please.
Just don't call us a Democrat,
Just don't call us a
please.
Democrat. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate your time. You have been phenomenal. I know you have things to do, but I definitely appreciate this time because I just think your voices are something that just needs to be spread all over this country because there are no conservative voices in these blue areas.
Yeah.
Absolutely none.
Yeah.
And so I understand the red hat hate. I got it back here. They hate when I put on my Trump is right about everything hat. I did it the other day.
Right.
I tell them all the time, I don't care. You're gonna
Right.
see it all on my page. Okay.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you for definitely coming on and for definitely talking to me and spending time. And anytime you all are here in the area, you have something going on, I don't mind coming out to it. I don't mind promoting it, even if I'm not involved in it, because I think what you're doing is so important to not only, Black culture, not only people of color, but pop culture in general. Like this is an actual moment in time. Like politics is, I tell people all the time, politics is pop culture. Like this is what's happening in the culture. This is what's happening in the popular culture. And if we don't record it,
That's
they
right.
will never know
They
that
won't
there
know.
were people and people of color, particularly Black people, that actually felt this way and had a whole grassroots movement to push forward whatever's going to come later.
Right, because they would definitely erase that. They hate
Absolutely.
Trump so much they don't want nobody to know that Black people repping for Trump. Yes.
Absolutely.
They tried to hide us.
They tried to hide.
Oh, there ain't no African Americans looking for him. You're right. I'm Black American, but he was on. But he was on with everything else.
Right.
Absolutely.
I've been calling for him before he got in office.
Yeah, that was funny. What you was saying, they were like, here they go. They was like, you all actually exist.
Yeah.
We thought he was lying. I said, why y'all thought he was lying?
I told you. I said that on a panel. They were like, "Nuh-uh." I said, "Do you want me to pull up the video?" I'm
Right.
like, yes, they are. I'm like, I'm not a one-off. I assure you, I'm not a one-off because they just think I'm nuts here.
Right.
Because all I have here is to get on the liberal media.
Everybody did, even though they pat us in the back.
Yeah.
When our table, even though it was empty in there, our table always had people because they came in there trying to debate us. You understand? Like I was saying, like, man, we can talk Charlie Kirk all day. Like, I don't care. Like, at the end of the day, I stand on our stand. Oh, I'm not Democrat. Yeah, y'all all none of y'all Democrats at this Democratic.
That's what Angela Rye said.
Right.
Y'all all independent, but saying, you think the guy in the White House cares about you?
Yeah.
Yes.
All the Democrats
it's all the same
all
talking
their
point.
talking points.
Yeah.
It's always the same. Oh, you think he really cares about you? He don't care about Black people. He don't care about Hispanic people because they'll say that side, and I'm like, well, he done this for Black people. Or then they'll go to my Cuban side, and they'll go, oh well, you see what he's doing with the illegals? I'm like, yeah. I'm American.
Right.
I'm like, oh, you thought you were gonna get me with that?
That's
No. Send them back.
That's
because
right.
everybody that immigrated here, they understand.
all the Haitians coming over to, and look, we said, let me tell you something. What y'all don't understand is in Chicago, the people who came over here legally, the immigrants, they with us. You should see how many hugs they give us because they did everything the right way. They came over here and they're Americans.
But they also said, but going back to your point about socialism, they know about that. They left that. Yep. So why would you think I left that and now you go out with the cousins? Now you about to bring everybody over here and do the same shit that I flee from? Nah, fuck that.
Yes, and they push back on it. And I tell people all the time, especially in the Black community, I'm like, look at the communities or immigrant communities that fled something.
Yeah.
Learn and learn how to mobilize with that. And if at anything, let's just say if you weren't going to be Republican or weren't going to lead the Democratic Party, at least give them some pushback to say, well, my vote is going to go somewhere else if I don't get any tangibles. Because one thing I can say that I've seen from the illegals, I mean, you here illegally and you still have the nerve to get out there like, I have a right for this. You have advocates. I'm just like,
lawyers.
You have the nerve.
The nerve.
Man,
in our face.
In our face, and we just supposed to just stay on the Democratic plantation because of what? Like, I really don't understand. They don't really give us an answer either. They just say Trump. Oh yeah, that's it. We had them before. Like, I can deal with race. If y'all say that it's racism, I can deal with this type of racism.
We gotta go. Is he nothing?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just
no
not
problem.
Lump myself into everything. Y'all put us in everything, and it's just you've diluted. If we continue this way, you're going to continue to dilute our history, and it's happening every day. That's why I have to fight. I got to fight every day. That's why I don't mind arguing.
We'd be a stink.
Yeah.
If it's up to the Democratic Party, we'd be a stink.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I know you got to go.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. And anytime, anywhere, I love to have you. And I'm yours if you need me.
Yes. Thanks for having us. And we'll definitely be back on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a great morning. Have a good afternoon too.
Okay. You too.
Bye-bye.